F,
We're
make me
adding
blonde.
we're
See
adding
what
cat
that looks like.
filters. We're
Can you
adding
make me
cat
look
filters.
more like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like Bloodsport kind of era?
Oh yeah, we can
One
do
looks
that.
super cool. Yeah,
We can do we can
ready to
do
go win
that.
Kumite or something. But yeah,
Ah, the kumate. That you know
um,
what? We should have a special episode just talking about the kumate.
yeah. Let's promote local martial arts and have some kids come whoop on each other, and we'll give trophies out.
Yeah, you know what? That is a fantastic idea. Have our own like McAllen kumate
Yeah,
and say, look, you
After
know,
COVID, now, I mean, right now, we'd have to put them in little bubble, outfits or whatever, and they just like
I
roll
can
at each other.
I can see it already. The All Valley tournament, Cobra Kai versus Miyagi Do, man. Let's do it.
kumate, the
Let's do it,
kumate.
man. Whatever.
Hello, listeners. How's everybody doing? This is Efren Molina, and I got Victoria with me. Hopefully, when everyone's like listening, like to this, we wouldn't have been washed away in that tropical storm that's coming. Well, we got a special guest with us today, David Sanchez. How you doing, David? You also work on setting up small businesses, right?
I do. I do. I grew up in my family's small business. Um, Both of my parents were migrant farm workers growing up, and you know, being in their household and being one of the kids and being the oldest of three kids is kind of, um, you know, my dad let me in on things that probably were going over my head at a young age, just to kind of, uh, so that I had a familiarity with what it was to start and operate and run a business. And so I have a massive heart for small businesses, first time business owners, and part of my practice and my focus on my practice has been to reach out to small business owners and first time business owners, and let them know that beyond what I know and beyond the skills that I've acquired, in practice as a lawyer and things that I learned in law school, there's real world knowledge there that I can uh, help a client, apply to their situation and their business to hopefully get them started on the right track. And so there's intersections here between, a knowledge of being a business owner and legal knowledge that I can kind of apply toward this passion that I have to help um, business owners.
That's a really good skill because I'll say, like, when I left the district attorney's office to start my own business, people automatically assume like, oh, you're a lawyer, you just keep lawyering and it's the same thing. And it's like, no, like owning a business is like entirely different. You have to think about things that you never did before. And so
Right.
I can imagine where people, understand their own craft, whatever it is that they do, they still, there's still certain things about the business, aspect of it or business owning aspect of it that you just really don't learn that. So
Right.
it's good to have, I guess somebody like somebody that they can get that information from or that guidance from.
That's my philosophy. That's my approach to it, and it's just recognizing that, hey, there's more than just legal knowledge that I can help with, and more than just legal knowledge that I can apply, and it helps me assist a business at whatever stage they're in their life cycle, whether it's day one and they just have an idea, which is something that I'm helping a client with today. Day one, all we have is a good idea, and what's our next step, and then assisting business owners that have maybe they have 8 employees already, or maybe they're building their way up to 7 different locations, and assisting them with different things that kind of come up in business, and um, getting to apply and not only to apply the legal knowledge, but to be able to empathize and understand exactly what that feels like when you have um, maybe a PR crisis, or you have um, there's been a theft of intellectual property that the business relies on for success. Like maybe it's a secret recipe, maybe it is a client logbook. And having seen a lot in my experience, not only with my family's businesses but with my own, it kind of lets me kind of empathize more with my clients and get to the bottom line of what they're really calling me for. Because a lot of the times in business, when you need an answer, it's not just a maybe. It's either, well, you could do this, or maybe you could do that. It's trying to, within our duty as lawyers to inform and advise on what the paths are. Really kind of getting in there and using some of that experience to, uh, get them the answer that they're looking for the problem that they're trying to solve, and not in legalese or anything, but in real world, solutions.
Wow. And so, so people come to you and they want to set up their business. Uh, there's different types of like business formations and stuff like that, right?
Sure, sure. I mean, it can be just, you and I, F, like we could have an idea. We want to open up a taco truck. We don't have to do anything
Don't
other than,
Victoria.
don't give him any ideas, David. He's
yeah.
every other week. It's always like, guys, we need to invest in this, wig company, or we need to do some other random thing.
I feel that 100% because I'm always spinning, and I have a new venture that I just kind of jumped in myself, that, it kind of, an opportunity presented itself. So I'm always looking. That's my, I just love being a part of businesses. I love opening them, and I love letting people's passions, shine through so that they can deliver something of value to the community beyond a commodity or a good or a service. But, when you have someone that wants to translate passion and deliver that, that's what I get excited about.
What
And so
type?
I'm always looking. I'm always looking for new things. So I'm in the same path. Well, how much does that truck cost? Who can I borrow money from to buy it? Yeah, but there's so many ways that you can get into and start a business. In the legal sense, there's different entities that you can, kind of, adopt. From everyone's familiar with an LLC or a corporation, and there's reasons why you might want to go one, direction over another. But, there's nothing but options and flexibility out there that can be applied to your situation. And so that's how I approach everything.
What type of business are you trying to get into?
So, I mean, how far back into my story do we need to go to kind of set the stage here? I never thought I was going to be a lawyer. Uh, I was terrible at math, terrible at science. A lot of lawyers have this story that,
I
I'm
was
over
gonna
here
say
counting on my
that's
fingers,
why you go to law school, because you can't do math.
but I can read. I can read, and, I can write an essay like, but that's kind of where I was like, you know what, I could go do this. I could go get into a sales job, and I had an opportunity right out of college to go, sell, custom homes in Dallas, and I'd never lived in Dallas, and I had the opportunity, but, a friend of mine just encouraged me, why don't you just take the LSAT? And then I took it, and then why don't you just apply? And then I applied, and said, why don't you just try a semester? And when I was never a great student, but when I went to law school, that was, the first time I ever got straight A's, was in law school, which is crazy because the environment, and everyone knows it's tough, but
Yeah.
something about it clicked for me. But there's always been this inclination towards the creative, towards the artistic. And even though I wasn't born with the gift of being able to create with my hands or anything like that, but I've always had images in my mind, and, little short scenes of movies and sounds, and things that I wish I could translate through an instrument, or through the lens of a camera, or, through a computer graphic. But I've always wanted to, um, have some kind of proximity to creatives and people that are making art and pushing art forward. And so, given the different businesses that I've been involved in over the last few years, I've met some of the best, graphic designers, 3D animators, videographers, photographers that are here in the Valley. And, I've become friends with them. And, it started out just kind of seeing each other around, and I developed good friendships with them. And so it just kind of made sense one day to, you know, artists want to focus on their art, and I love art, and I know how to run a business. So why don't we kind of join forces? I'll work the front of the house, and take care of all the contracts, and make sure that, everything is running smoothly, and you guys just focus on art. And so that is the model for this new, interdisciplinary design house that we're, setting up as we speak.
That's
And everything
awesome.
is super tight-lipped and confidential, but
Not anymore.
Boom.
Yeah, once we
Well,
launch,
no,
it's
David.
pretty
We may
interesting.
only
Yeah,
have 6 viewers, and 2 of
yeah.
them are probably Efrain and my relatives, so it's
Mom
okay.
and dad, hello. Yeah, we may just, but you know what? One day, Victoria, F, we could end up doing something really special, and we'll look back at this video as evidence that
This is
just a
how it got
record that these
started.
people started somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
everyone
And that's
starts
usually all it
someplace.
takes. You just, you find somebody that you can collaborate with, and you find somebody who maybe has the strengths that you wish you had, but you have the strengths that they wish they had, and that's what makes it.
right.
You know, F, super smart, legal genius, terrible with his calendar, not super organized. So that's where I come in and I help him with that. So that's what I bring to the table.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're originally from here, David, right?
Born and raised in McAllen. Yeah.
And I could tell from your beard that there is no doubt that you are related to the people from the DeSantis spa.
Is that right? Why is that?
I mean, you're perfectly lined up. Like
That's
your
Oh
beard's
man, no,
just perfect.
that's a great compliment, man. I spent about 3 hours this morning trying to get it right, but no, man, I've had it for so long, and I think I've even had it before beards are cool. I think I grew it out one summer when I was in college, and then I just never looked back. Um, I don't think too much about it, but it's just kind of reflex these days.
Do you have a
And
beard routine?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I have really good shampoo and conditioner, but other than that, I'm just trying not to look like a vagrant.
and
Nice.
so, do you get preferential treatment there at DeSantis spa? Like you just walk in and
There, there was a time when I knew all the receptionists and I knew all the salon coordinators. I could make a call and they would get me in. And when I left for law school, left for college, I really didn't spend too much time in McAllen. So when I came back, none of them knew who I was, and I couldn't
They're
just
like,
call and
who's
say they
this?
wouldn't recognize my voice anymore. And so no, I got sent to the back of the line. I have to wait, and my sister Rita, she's an incredible. Hair technician, and she's a color expert, and her waiting list is, a month or two long, and so I can't get in with her
Yeah.
during business
Like I was saying,
hours, and
before we started the episode, listeners, David and I were chatting because we had never met before, but I realized that his dad was David Sanchez, and his dad actually gave me my first haircut. Maybe I'll get the picture to F and he can put it on.
oh yeah.
But my mom grew up with his dad and my cousin, and I know a lot of people that actually go to your sister Rita, and it's like she
yeah,
does amazing work. Like there's people who do hair color, and then there's artists, and no joke, I mean she does a fantastic job.
right.
So, so David,
Don't let her watch my man. I'm afraid.
you you're a very talented lawyer, and
Thanks, man.
what what brought you back to the Rio Grande Valley?
I think I recognized well, first thing is I've always respected and honored the opportunities that the Rio Grande Valley gave my family and my parents, who, they came up tough. It was tough for them, and the opportunities that they shouldn't have had, they had them here in the Valley. And I've always respected what the Valley does for people who work hard, because I do really feel like the American dream still exists here, and that's not the case everywhere. So that's one thing, is that just I love the Rio Grande Valley for what it was, for what it is today, and for the promise that it shows for the future. And the second thing that I saw is that there's lots of talented people that I grew up with, lots of kids that are now doctors or journalists or scientists or lawyers, across the gamut, across all industries, talented, brilliant people that are not coming home. And so I recognized that there was a brain drain happening in McAllen and the Valley, and I just felt it wasn't a hard decision that I had to make. I know that I wanted to come home to McAllen, and for whatever I could offer my people, my neighbors here, I wanted to be a part of that and to be a part of, uh, you know, what I think is going to be an economic renaissance and a cultural renaissance that is going to single out the Valley as one of the next hubs of art, culture, and economy here in Texas.
Wow.
Wow.
Uh, do you paint, or do you have any
I don't
artistic
know.
talents? No.
No, I think
David, you
the
could have told
closest
us
thing
you painted that what was behind you, and we would have believed you.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
claim that. I think I probably
we
got that
would.
like at Hobby Lobby or something.
It was painted by some Chinese dude.
So it's this is printed somewhere. This is on an HP laser printer. This is not original, but no, man. No, I really don't. But I think I took an aptitude test when I was maybe 8 years old, and the result of it was that I could be a park ranger or a photographer, and then maybe 50 or 40 on that list, it was attorney. And I don't know whose money I need to get back for that, but it was always interesting, and that's always been in the back of my head that I should probably learn how to take pictures because if there's a group of people that want a picture taken, the picture that I take of them is always the best one. And the pictures that people take of me are always just awful. I mean, they shoot them from down here, and
Isn't that
double,
rude?
triple. It's awful, and people suck. And yeah, but no, it's just kind of
I think David just threw out the motto for 2020. People suck.
People do
people
suck.
suck. Sometimes people suck.
Yeah, no, it's true. You'll take like an awesome picture, great filter, the lighting, everything is somebody else, and they post a picture of you, and you're like, who is that underbridge troll that you posted?
Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah, I'm not proud of this. I'm not. I'll never post this. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, no, I've had that exact situation, David. So I feel you on that.
My friends need to know that I'm still alive. I haven't posted in months, and this is what you give me. It's like, what am I gonna do with this?
Yeah. What what I found very helpful is when you're taking a picture, like in a group, try to stand next to someone that's way fatter than you.
That's
Right?
the dark arts. That's the dark arts of social media, and you know, make sure they
Yeah.
take it from up here so that you don't look silly or
Yeah, not from
kind of
down here
hide
to
your
where you
body a
can
little
see
bit.
like underneath, like in the nose and all that. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's been interesting with like the Zoom hearings with like some of the older generation attorneys who are trying to work their Zoom camera and they're on like a phone. Yes.
I had
They're like they have their
yeah.
phone and it's like right at their face and it's like what? No, I don't need to see what's on your neck. Like back up a little bit.
Yeah, it's but you can't knock it, because we had the benefit of being raised with these tactile tools and of technology our whole life, and so it's more intuitive, big time for us to jump on Zoom. And I mean, props to, I mean, we all have parents, and whether your parents are technologically inclined or not, like there's a huge learning curve, and it's not intuitive. And so my hats off to anybody that's going for it because this world and this new means of communication is the way forward, and it's either get with the program or get left behind. Really, I mean, this is way different than when the fax machine started dying. Like, this is a
Yeah,
whole new world that we're entering into.
this is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
F, are you liking all the Zoom stuff, like court-wise and depositions?
Well, yeah. That, that's fun and that's fine. It's real time efficient. But what I really miss though is just meeting with people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you two are the only people I've actually seen for the whole week.
I'm sorry.
Um,
No, it's
Like
hard.
this conversation, yeah.
It's hard because I know we probably mentioned it in the last episode, but we went from like us being in the office like every day, having lunch probably like 4 days out of the week. The lunch hour was just like our time to like hang out and just bullshit, and then just being in the office, like you're typing up something and you get stuck. Go talk to talk to Sunny. Richard's never in the office, so we don't ever talk to him. But it's just like knowing that you have like other people and other, contact and stuff and
yeah.
people to bounce ideas off. And now it's just like, it's hard. It's hard like when you're always by yourself. when you're used to working, with like the little crew.
Yeah, I had an advantage that when I went solo, I experienced a lot of these, I guess, cabin fever blues, this COVID stuff that a lot of people are going through now, which is very real. Separation from interaction and just kind of day to day community and communication has been severed. And that is something that, if you know anything about humans, is that we need community. Humans need interaction and just kind of reinforcement throughout the day. Otherwise, uh, you start to see some of these things start to break down psychologically and physically. And so, I mean, I experienced that, last year when I went off on my own, just kind of like, okay, now I'm at the office by myself, or I'm here by myself at home because nobody's here to tell me to go to the office, and I can get everything done from my laptop. That's the way I set it up. And so there was, it's weird because there's all sorts of emotions that people are going through right now, and you have to wonder what, if any, are the long-term effects of this state that we've been in. And the only thing that I can think of to do is, go get a walk in once in a while, or get some sunlight, and try to just connect with your friends whenever you can. It's been pretty rough for people all over the world, really. It's crazy.
Are you married, David?
I'm not. I'm single. Well, I have a girlfriend right now, and things are going really well. And it's been nice to have that kind of support system here with me, because otherwise I'd probably be having a way worse time, in my headspace than I am right now. Yeah,
Wow.
it's manageable, I think, when you have someone that is there. But there's people everywhere that are just kind of going about this on their own, really.
Yeah, because I can't imagine like dating somebody in this period, like trying to find somebody.
Well, I had seen on like a couple of like news shows and like random shows that people are doing a lot of Zoom dating. And I'm like, back when I was single, that would have been pretty cool, because you're like, it's not a huge investment. You could kind of see what's going on, talk to them. If they're weird, you just leave the meeting, no big deal. But to not have like that human interaction, like at a certain point, like, yeah, I think it would be really difficult to like date right now.
But
Yeah, I
but
can't
that
imagine.
but that could be like a really big thriving like business for you, David. Just taking headshots of like people that they could put like on Facebook and Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're coming into a period like where we live online, and you
Yeah.
should have your best foot forward, and you should go out and get a professional headshot, or get something that represents who you are as a person, and not a cartoon emoji, or not a picture from a 2007 BlackBerry. Like we live here, and
Hey,
just like you
F
wouldn't put
looks
any
great
sign out.
in
Yeah,
that 2007 BlackBerry picture.
I know. I was gonna
sideways
say.
with a white cap sideways. Yeah, who knows what we were wearing in
He's got
2007? Yeah.
his Van Dutch cap on from back in his fraternity
Oh
days.
man.
That's right. You can't go wrong with the Van Dutch hat. Yeah, like so much.
I'm gonna put my hats away real quick.
I know the world has changed so much. Like these like Zoom, like podcasts like that we do like really suck, because usually we would have you at our studio, David, getting you drunk, and then we put you on, and that's when we get all the juicy stuff out.
And then it's
you know?
yeah, and and there's also like there's like shelves in the room, and there's all this like weird shit that F has like accumulated over the years. And then there's a lot of times where the guests have never been there before, and you'll just see them like just looking like, what the hell is that? Like it's just like a collection of weird things. But it's like it's fun, and I mean it is different, but we do what we can, and Zoom will have to suffice for now.
Well, if we get any traction for this podcast, if anyone other than mom and dad watch it, maybe I can come back and I can go and explore everything that's on your shelves.
Like what's crazy is most of our videos now are getting about like 1,000 views.
That's incredible.
So yeah, we don't know who's watching, but
Yeah, no.
Somebody's watching. Somebody's stealing content for BuzzFeed or yeah.
The federal government.
They're always watching. We know that.
Oh my gosh.
And so, if people wanted to contact you, David, what's your phone number?
My phone number is 567-7777. I made it really easy to get in touch with me, and so that you run into trouble and you don't forget, maybe you lose your phone somewhere, or maybe you're in jail. I don't do criminal stuff, but that's a number that anyone can call anytime and get through to me. And if you are in jail,
But
I'll send someone that knows what they're doing to go get you.
I was gonna say, I thought the general rule was if you typically don't do like criminal law, you'll only do it for the right price.
Well, that's true to some extent,
To
and I
some
know how to
extent.
do it. I know how to do a DWI defense, but only because I have buddies that have, slipped up. And so that's how I've learned to do DWIs, and that's been my only foray into criminal law. And it's a valuable tool to have when you're 30 something and your friends are still out there trying to have a good time. And, that's not to make light of drinking while driving, but, you know,
It's just one of those
it's,
types of
it's
offenses.
happens.
Unfortunately, everybody's either experienced it or they know somebody who's experienced it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that perfect like DWI client that has his Tesla on autopilot, and then it gets pulled
That's going to be
over
awesome. That's going
for
to be crazy.
DWI.
I can't wait.
Say, I wasn't driving. It
I'm
was on
like,
So
autopilot.
I know somebody
all
who
the,
has a Tesla. Maybe she can try that out for us.
yeah, all the Teslas have the ability. It's just what I'm understanding is that you can at the dealership pay for that plug-in, and all they do is just kind of turn it on. But that autonomous driving system is already in Teslas. I don't know if you guys know anything to back that up or not. I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
No, we're
Nah,
not.
and we don't
We're
and we
not.
don't fact check either, David. So you could put a whole bunch of shit out here, and it's
Um, oh man, I get pretty militant about fact checking in the news, especially now. It's just something that, man, if I see a story that just has BS in it, whereas normally I probably wouldn't have shaken the bush. It's upsetting because this is a battle that we're all facing
yeah.
as
No,
Americans and as people in the
I mean,
world.
I make light of it, but for the most part, like if there's information that we put out there and we're not sure about it, we've gone back and checked. The one that probably needs to do that more is Sunny when he comes out and he's talking about like health statistics and diabetes and things like that, where he thinks he went to medical school, but in fact he did not.
Just whatever numbers kind of flow out that sound nice in the sentence that I'm saying, and then
He's like,
fact check and
60,
put it up here.
yeah, it's like 65% of statistics are made on the spot. Wait, what? I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah,
Yeah, and what's crazy is that we're in the business of truth, right? Like when someone hires you, they're like, okay, the truth is this. Fight for the truth. If you're setting up like a business, these are the true agreements that we want.
yeah. Hopefully you have those. Yeah,
But now, though, it seems like the truth like doesn't matter.
it's
What,
elusive and it shouldn't be. Yeah,
right?
That's
Like,
been like one of the hardest things that like and we try not to get too political on here or whatever, but when you listen to any type of candidate speak or anybody speak, where I'm just like, that's not accurate, or like that's not like, if you spot it, it's like it's very frustrating because I'm like, there is somewhere that you can verify that fact and it is not accurate, and it's just like they have no problem saying it or spreading it, and then other people spread it, and it's very, very frustrating.
yeah. I think there's just so much information out there, and it is so easy to put your information or your content out there. It's free. It costs nothing. It takes no time to put your own meme up. And if it makes sense, if there's logic behind it, you'll get people that will adopt it as their own because it's just easier, because this is what fits in my mind. This is what makes sense to me. The meme that you posted about this makes good sense and it's funny, but that's what I'm going to adopt as the truth. And because it's easy and it's easy to digest, that's where you see people that kind of carry on these beliefs and these notions that are based totally on nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way we operate as humans. We want the quick
Yeah.
answer. We want the easy solution, And that's why, if you look at stand-up comedians, and even comedy news, or you have people like Trevor Noah, who they started out for laughs, but those are the people that were kind of that you can kind of rely on to at least give you both sides of the story, which is kind of a crazy thing,
Yeah.
because comedy is observation. And so I, it's, I wish I knew more about what's going on and with this information politics right now, on a psychological level, because that's something that's just super interesting to me, and super tragic too.
It's
Yeah.
definitely changed a lot. Like I don't know who I was talking to, but I was saying it'd be so interesting because I majored in poli sci in undergrad to take a political science class right now, and they're maybe going over like politics now because it's entirely different than what it was even just 10 years ago, uh, and more so even 20 years ago. And so it's crazy.
That's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah, it is, and we have to, and on top of that, you have the recession that we just came out of, and that's something that I'm kind of looking into also. It's like, okay, we just came out of a recession in 2008, because on the grand scale of things, and the timeline of the way the economy moves, the recession of 2008 was really like, it may as well have been yesterday, and the effects are still rolling out now. And in the midst of that rollout, in the midst of the fallout from the 2008 recession, we have the COVID economic depression, or the economic crisis that we've kind of fallen into. And it's interesting because 2008 was financial. Now we're in an economic crisis because demand is down in a lot of sectors that employ people and and move the economy forward. Um, and so it's like, who's out there saying or predicting what's happening next? Or is there anyone out there that has an idea of what we can expect, um, for business, um, for politics, or for our own social interactions? Those are the voices that I'm trying to find, and so far, everyone I feel like is just studying, and people have good ideas about what we can expect in the future, and beyond gloom and doom, because I don't think that. Um, Gloom and doom is the answer, because that's just not the way we operate as humans. And in our history, we see that there's tough times, and we move beyond that. But there was always something that came from these uh, very challenging times, that someone had a good idea and they ran with it, and things turned out okay, or things stabilized, at least for a little while. And so that's what I'm kind of trying to uh, get a beat on, is what comes next, and what world are we going to be living in once things come back to normal? Because I think they will come back. They will come back to normal, but it's just a
Maybe
matter of when and what that looks like.
and maybe a new normal.
Yeah,
Right.
I think so.
And Victoria, like since we got you here, I guess let's quickly like cover one last like topic, and we can get your thoughts on it,
Okay.
Victoria. I was reading the news and watching it too, and
I think I know what you're going to bring up.
the U.S. Congressman or Congresswoman, Miss
Yes.
Cortez, right?
AOC. Yeah.
She had an altercation with another like congressman
Yeah.
who referred to her as an effing B. You
Yeah.
know?
I like how you like pronounced it that way or said it that way, as if we don't cuss on this podcast. But yes, he did. That's what was reported.
And do you encounter that a lot?
Is that a joke?
Yeah, well,
I mean, you could. I mean, F, like when we were at the DA's office, and it wasn't so much because I was thinking about it because I saw, and for our listeners who don't know or haven't seen it, Congresswoman AOC Alexia Ocasio-Cortez made a big statement on the House floor about another congressman approaching her, telling her that she's crazy, doesn't agree with her policies, this and that, and then called her a fucking bitch. And she said it. And, she was with another congressperson, another colleague, and then there was actually a member of the media who was close by or part of the news and heard it also. And so they've all been consistent about it, saying that it happened. And, he gave some type of an apology, which I heard part of it, and didn't sound pretty much like an apology. And I was thinking, have I ever had that situation where somebody has called me that, not to my face, with good reason probably, but when I was at the DA's office, a lot of my friends would kind of carry on a message back to me that so-and-so attorney was like, oh yeah, she's a fucking bitch.
I thought you were gonna have like a 2 minute like answer. Like everyone's scared to call me that. I didn't expect you to go out on this treatise of women's rights and stuff.
You can't ask me that question and expect me to answer it in a small soundbite. Like, that's just not realistic.
And I think me and David were going to cut you off, but we didn't want to appear sexist or anything like that.
No, we're on Twitter in 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get canceled.
Victoria, we're losing your feed. We're losing your feed. And it's just like a blank screen.
Yeah. Well, she did give like a really good speech, and I think she's not like an attorney, but she was really good at like flipping it though, using it as like a badge of honor.
And I'm not yeah. Are you a fan of like any of her policies? I'm not. I can't say that there's like a lot of things that she's put out there that I'm a huge fan of, and I've seen like other people post like, I'm not a fan of her, or I'm not one of her supporters, but what she said and what she did was very powerful. And so I, agreed with that.
What do you think, David?
I think without even getting into what her politics are, at this point, I am supportive of what she's about. I think because regardless of what her position is on the issues, she is out there, she's being vocal about what she feels, and I think that there's some real transparency and authenticity to the way that she approaches situations, so that no matter what you think of her views, you always know where she stands. And I think that that's something that should be respected as part of what makes the American political discourse great, in theory at least, is that we have people that are espousing their own views and that are arguing their point, and doing so in a manner that is respectful and as loud as you need it to be, but clear. And so what we've had, I think, in the last 20, 30 years is politicians kind of floundering and refusing to take a stance on an issue. And I think what, going back to what I said about studying what's coming next is, and it's evident in what some call cancel culture, is that people are demanding authenticity, and they're demanding something real, and they don't want your professional headshot or your curated biography on your website. They want to see who you are, what you're about, and what you stand for and what you won't stand for. And I think that's kind of what underlies a lot of what's going on now, is that people are desperate for authenticity however you can get it. And whether it falls to the right or to the left of the aisle, people are gravitating towards those people that are being true to themselves. And so we need more of that. We need a lot more of that, because that's ultimately where I think we're going. It's finding out what people are really about, what they really believe. You really feel this way about minorities, everyone needs to know.
Yeah.
If you really feel this way about women, everyone needs to know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're a good person, or if you had a mistaken belief, or maybe you've learned over time, I think there should be some grace that's afforded people that are learning and that are actively trying to learn. But what we see coming through the pipeline right now is a demand for authenticity and accountability for what people are doing when others aren't watching. And as more light comes to the fray, I think you'll start to see people are lifted up by their communities for being real, authentic, and who they can depend on, because everything is 24/7 public, and everything you post is, archived for life and screenshotted, and I feel like that's where we're going.
Yeah.
So without saying anything about, her politics, I support the way she does it,
Wow.
without apologizing for what she feels. And I have friends that are personal friends with her, that know her personally from growing up, and by all accounts, she's super intellectual, and super smart. And so I'll take my friend's word over it over anyone that's talking about her on the news, because that's who I trust.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of her just kind of wearing her heart on her sleeve, right there in the, where I found it.
That was a very good speech, David. And
I'm sorry if I'm long-winded, man.
David,
No,
is
no.
this when you announce your candidacy for something? Because that's what it sounds
No,
like.
man.
It sounded like a good platform.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, David, thank you so much for coming on. We hope you'll come back onto our show at some time. Hopefully, you come back into
Sure.
our studio and have a conversation, maybe about comics, movies.
Yeah, I just finished playing Ghost of Tsushima on PS4. That's an incredible game. 10 out of 10. Great game. So if you're a video gamer, yeah.
How much are they paying you to say that? You come on our show to talk
I don't know,
about
but let's
business.
get paid. I'll send an email and say that we plugged Ghost of Tsushima, and maybe we'll get some kind of, I don't know, pack of Capri Sun or something. Maybe a PlayStation coaster or a flash drive, if we're lucky.
No, David, that's the last thing we need. We'll get canceled. Cancel culture will come after us.
Why? For a video game?
It's hard to get canceled when you're barely out there, F.
Guys, thanks for having me on, man. And maybe next time we'll be in my studio. Once we get off the ground, we'll have I don't know. I'll follow up with you guys when we launch the name, but it's gonna be a fun day.
I thought we were gonna get some secret information. Damn it!
I can't. All I can say is that the artists that are going to be behind this are people whose work you've already seen in the business world. You've seen their art, you've seen their work, you've seen their commercials and their billboards. But we're removing their names from this project, and it's going to be this. Going to be the Daft Punk of Latino Valley art, and so.
Wow.
So it's going to be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Very cool.
And as soon as I have that together, I'll follow up with you guys. Be happy to share it with you.